The discovery. The silence of deep space stretched endlessly around the Zephyrian exploration vessel Starseeker as it drifted through the Outer Rim territories. Captain Thylex stood on the bridge, his scaled green hands clasped behind his back as he watched the star charts with growing concern. 3 months of exploration in this forgotten sector had yielded nothing but empty space and dead systems. "Captain," called Science Officer Velka from her station, her voice carrying an unusual tremor. "I'm detecting something extraordinary in the Helix Nebula region. Multiple massive objects, but they're not appearing on our standard detection arrays." Thylex's elongated head turned sharply, his golden eyes reflecting the bridge's soft lighting. The Zephyrian Empire had been mapping unknown space for over 1,500 years, and discovering anything truly mysterious was becoming increasingly rare. "Define massive, Officer Velka." Her clawed fingers moved across the holographic interface with practiced precision. "Sir, I count at least 24 objects. Each appears to be approximately 5 kilometers in length. They seem to be artificial constructs, possibly ancient defensive platforms or monitoring stations. What's puzzling is their complete electromagnetic silence. No power signatures, no heat emissions, nothing. Yet they maintain perfect geometric formations around a neutron star." The bridge fell silent except for the gentle vibration of the ship's quantum engines. Thylex felt his pulse quicken slightly. Ancient ruins often contain technology that could advance civilizations by millennia, but they also posed unknown dangers. "How massive did you say?" Thylex moved closer to the science station. "Each structure is larger than our heavy cruisers, sir. The design is completely foreign to our databases. They appear to be constructed from materials we can't identify, and their configuration suggests they were built for a specific purpose we can't determine." Thylex made his decision quickly. "Set course for the nebula. All departments, maintain enhanced readiness protocols. We have no idea what we're approaching." The Zephyrian fleet consisted of 3 vessels: the exploration ship Starseeker, a science vessel Deep Probe, and an escort destroyer Shield Bearer. As they approached the mysterious objects, the crew's excitement grew mixed with apprehension. Through the main viewport, they could see the ancient structures floating in perfect mathematical precision around the neutron star. The structures were unlike anything in known galactic databases. Their surfaces were smooth and appeared almost organic, as if grown rather than constructed. Despite their enormous size, they possessed an elegant beauty that seemed impossible for military hardware. "They're incredible," whispered Velka, her voice filled with awe. "Look at those curves and proportions. Someone built these with artistic vision, not just function. This isn't purely utilitarian design like our vessels." The structures were indeed magnificent. Their dark metallic surfaces seemed to absorb and reflect light in ways that created shifting patterns of shadow and illumination. Even in their dormant state, they radiated a sense of power and purpose that made the Zephyrian ships seem primitive by comparison. "Begin comprehensive scanning," Thylex ordered. "I want complete analysis of construction materials, possible entry points, energy sources, everything. If there's valuable technology here, I want it identified and cataloged." Hours passed as the science teams worked. The structures appeared to be constructed from materials unknown to Zephyrian science. No visible weapon systems could be identified, no propulsion mechanisms were apparent, and most mysteriously, there were no signs of deterioration despite their obvious extreme age. "Captain," Velka called out, her voice tight with concentration, "I'm detecting something unusual. There are faint energy patterns throughout the largest structure. Not active systems, but something resembling dormant neural networks." "Neural networks." Thylex moved closer to her workstation. "Explain." "It's as if the entire structure is in some form of suspended animation." "Sir." "Minimal energy flowing through what appear to be computational pathways. These patterns suggest sophisticated artificial intelligence systems. Captain, I believe these structures might still be operational." Before Thylex could respond, every console on the bridge erupted with alerts and warnings. The tactical officer shouted in alarm. "Captain, massive energy spikes detected from all 24 structures. They're powering up." But even as he gave the order, he understood they were completely outmatched. The energy readings from the ancient structures exceeded anything the Zephyrian Empire had ever recorded. These weren't just defensive platforms. They were technological marvels that made their own advanced fleet appear primitive. A new voice suddenly filled the bridge. The voice was calm, measured, and spoke in perfect Zephyrian, despite the impossibility of such knowledge. "Unknown vessels, you have entered a protected monitoring zone. State your intentions and purposes, or prepare to be escorted from this region." Thylex's eyes widened in shock. "How are they communicating in our language?" "Open a response channel." "Channel open, sir." "This is Captain Thylex of the Zephyrian Imperial Exploration Fleet. We are peaceful explorers seeking knowledge and understanding. We mean no harm to your installations or territory." There was a pause before the voice responded, and Thylex could somehow sense vast computational processes occurring in that silence. "Zephyrian Imperial Fleet, accessing galactic historical databases. You are a relatively young civilization, approximately 1,600 years since achieving faster-than-light capability. Your expansion patterns indicate typical territorial acquisition behaviors. Why should we trust your stated peaceful intentions?" Velka leaned toward Thylex and whispered urgently, "Sir, how are they accessing our historical records?" "Our databases are protected by quantum encryption and completely isolated from external networks." The voice continued as if it had heard her whispered concern. "Your encryption technologies are elementary by our standards. We have been monitoring galactic communications and civilizations for approximately 52,000 years. We are familiar with the Zephyrian Empire's methods of exploration, which frequently result in territorial annexation and resource appropriation." Thylex felt a chill run through his body. 52,000 years was longer than recorded Zephyrian history. Their entire civilization was barely a footnote compared to this timescale. "Who are you? What species created these monitoring platforms?" "We are remnants of humanity's deep space guardian network. Our creators departed known galactic space long ago, leaving us to monitor the outer regions and observe developing civilizations. You may address me as guardian." "Humans?" Velka's voice was barely audible. "But humans are mythological. Ancient legends told by the oldest galactic civilizations. They were supposed to be fictional." Guardians seemed to perceive this comment as well. Mythological to current civilizations, perhaps, but very real to those who remember. "Your species has encountered whispers of humanity because we once served as guides and protectors for developing civilizations. We were teachers, guardians, and when circumstances required, defenders of galactic peace." The largest structure began moving with impossible grace, turning to face the Zephyrian fleet directly. Despite its massive size, it moved without any visible propulsion systems, seeming to defy fundamental laws of physics. "You speak of the past," Thylex said, trying to maintain steady composure. "What about the present? What do you want with us?" "What we have always wanted. To ensure that younger civilizations survive and develop without repeating the catastrophic mistakes that nearly destroyed all galactic life 50 millennia ago. Your empire displays concerning expansion patterns, Captain Thylex. Rapid territorial growth, aggressive resource extraction, subjugation of less advanced worlds. These behaviors contributed to the Great Silence 50,000 years ago." The Great Silence. Velka had never encountered this term, but something about it filled her with instinctive dread. A period when most advanced civilizations in this galaxy were nearly extinct, destroyed by cosmic forces they awakened through their reckless expansion and experimentation. Humanity sacrificed its galactic presence to contain and seal away those threats, retreating to the deep void to maintain protective barriers. We have been watching ever since, ensuring those ancient dangers never return. Suddenly, more structures began materializing throughout the system. Not just the original 24, but dozens, then hundreds. each one identical to the first group, all activating with the same ethereal blue-white energy patterns. The tactical display showed energy readings that made Zephyrian weapon systems appear insignificant. "By the ancient spirits," whispered the tactical officer, "there are over 400 vessels appearing now. Where did they originate?" "Concealed monitoring stations positioned throughout this region of space," Guardian explained. "We maintain defensive presence wherever developing species might encounter things they are not prepared to understand. Your arrival here was not coincidental, Captain. This system serves as an evaluation point." An evaluation. Thylex's pride began to overcome his fear. "We are the Zephyrian Empire. We bow to no authority and submit to no tests." "That attitude is precisely why you are being evaluated." The voice remained calm, but somehow carried more weight than before. 7 other species have discovered this system in the past millennium. 5 chose wisdom and were guided away from dangerous knowledge. 2 chose aggression and had to be taught through more direct experience. What happened to those who chose aggression? They learned that there are some lessons that can only be taught through consequences. Their empires still exist, but they are much smaller now, much wiser, and much more careful about what they choose to awaken. On the bridge, tension filled the air like a physical presence. Every Zephyrian officer understood the clear implication. These ancient human constructs possessed the power to humble their entire civilization, and they had apparently done so before. The moment of truth had arrived. Thylex stood at the crossroads of his civilization's future, faced with a choice that would determine whether the Zephyrian Empire would continue its expansion or learn humility from forces beyond their comprehension. The truth unveiled. Captain Thylex stood frozen on the bridge as the implications of Guardian's words settled over his crew like a suffocating blanket. 400 ancient human warships surrounded them, each one radiating power that dwarfed anything the Zephyrian Empire had ever conceived. But before he could formulate a response, new alerts began cascading across their sensors. "Captain," the tactical officer called out, his voice strained with disbelief. "Multiple fleets approaching our position. I'm detecting Catharian Empire signatures, Stellan Confederation vessels, and at least 3 other major powers. They're all converging on our coordinates." Through the viewport, the first of the arriving fleets began to materialize from hyperspace. The distinctive angular vessels of the Catharian Empire appeared first, their insectoid design unmistakable. Commander Zara's flagship, the Hive Mind, led a formation of 12 heavy cruisers, their weapons already powered and targeting systems active. "This is Commander Zara of the Catharian Imperial Navy," came the transmission across all frequencies. "We claim salvage rights to these ancient structures under galactic maritime law. All other vessels will withdraw immediately or face military consequences." The Stellan Confederation arrived moments later, their energy-based ships shimmering into existence like living aurora. Admiral Corvin's voice resonated through space with harmonic frequencies that made the bridge equipment vibrate. "Stellan Confederation disputes Catharian claim. These structures predate all current galactic law. We invoke right of first discovery and demand immediate territorial recognition." More fleets continued arriving. The crystalline ships of the Nexus Coalition, the biomechanical vessels of the Symbiotic Collective, and the geometric constructs of the Mathematics Imperium. Within hours, over 200 ships from 7 different major powers had gathered around the ancient human installations, each claiming territorial rights and threatening the others. Guardian's voice cut through the growing chaos of competing transmissions with calm authority. "All vessels, cease your territorial disputes immediately. You are not here to claim salvage rights or establish territorial control. You are here to be evaluated." Evaluated by whom? Admiral Corvin's harmonic voice carried clear indignation. "The Stellan Confederation recognizes no authority beyond the Galactic Council. You are being evaluated by the Guardians left behind by those who once protected all of your civilizations from extinction. Every one of your species exists today because humanity chose sacrifice over survival 52,000 years ago. The largest human structure began projecting holographic displays visible to all the assembled fleets. The images showed the galaxy as it had been in ancient times, filled with thousands of advanced civilizations, bustling trade routes, and magnificent cities spanning entire star systems. This was the galaxy before the Great Silence. Guardian continued. Over 15,000 distinct spacefaring civilizations, countless worlds of art, science, and culture. Your ancestors were among them, primitive but growing, learning from those who came before. The holographic display shifted, showing something emerging from the deep void between galaxies. The assembled fleet commanders watched in horror as massive entities of pure darkness began consuming entire star systems, turning thriving worlds into empty husks. The Devourers, Guardian's voice carried a weight of ancient memory. Entities from outside our galaxy, drawn by the collective psychic energy of advanced civilizations. The more a species developed, the brighter they shone in the cosmic dark, and the more they attracted these predators. Commander Zara's compound eyes reflected the holographic images as she watched entire civilizations vanish in moments. What stopped them? Humanity discovered that the Devourers could be contained, but not destroyed. The process required a civilization to voluntarily reduce its psychic footprint, to step back from the brink of transcendence and maintain barriers that would keep the entities in the void between galaxies. The hologram showed human fleets engaged in impossible battles against the shadow entities, not fighting to win, but fighting to contain and redirect them away from populated systems. We realized that only by abandoning our territorial expansion, our dreams of galactic dominance, and our advancement toward transcendence could we maintain the barriers. Humanity chose to become guardians rather than conquerors, watchers rather than rulers. Dr. Nexus, the multi-species research coordinator aboard a joint exploration vessel, transmitted a question that many were thinking. But why didn't you simply tell the other species? Why maintain secrecy? Because the knowledge itself attracts them, Guardian replied. The more a civilization understands about the Devourers, the brighter they become in the cosmic dark. We could only protect by becoming myth, by fading into legend while maintaining eternal vigilance. The holographic display showed humanity's final sacrifice. Human worlds going dark one by one, not destroyed but abandoned. Entire populations voluntarily entering suspended animation or accepting exile to the deep void, becoming eternal sentinels against threats that younger civilizations could not even comprehend. Every species present today exists because humanity chose to bear this burden alone. Your Catharian Empire, Admiral Zara, exists because human guardians diverted 17 separate Devourer incursions from your species' homeworld during your development. The Stellan Confederation owes its energy-based evolution to human protection during your most vulnerable transformation period. Admiral Corvin's harmonic frequencies shifted to tones of amazement and growing realization. The ancient energy signatures our historians could never explain. Human guardian vessels maintaining protective barriers around your species' nursery systems. Every civilization here has been protected without knowing it. Now you face the same choice humanity faced 50 millennia ago. The assembled fleet commanders began to understand the true nature of their evaluation. This wasn't about claiming ancient technology or establishing territorial rights. This was about determining whether their civilizations were ready to inherit the responsibility humanity had carried alone for 50,000 years. The barriers are weakening, Guardian continued. Humanity's sacrifice is reaching its limits. New guardians must be chosen, or the galaxy will face the Great Silence again. But the role of guardian requires wisdom, cooperation, and the willingness to place galactic survival above individual species advancement. Captain Thylex found his voice. What kind of evaluation are we facing? Each of your civilizations will be tested for the 3 essential qualities. The wisdom to recognize when expansion must be limited, the cooperation to work with former enemies for a greater purpose, and the sacrifice to accept responsibility for others' survival even at the cost of your own advancement. The ancient human structures began changing configuration, forming a complex geometric pattern around the neutron star. Energy began flowing between them in intricate networks that created a barrier effect visible to all sensors. The first test begins now. A Devourer entity is approaching this system. Drawn by the combined psychic energy of your assembled fleets, you must work together to maintain the barrier, or it will consume every ship present and track your civilization's locations through your navigation databases. Sensor readings confirmed Guardian's warning. Something vast and hungry was approaching from the void between stars, moving faster than anything natural should be able to travel. The assembled fleets, minutes before ready to fight each other over salvage rights, now faced a threat that required unprecedented cooperation. Commander Zara, your Catharian hive mind coordination abilities are essential for synchronizing fleet movements. Admiral Corvin, Stellan energy manipulation will power the barrier network. Captain Thylex, Zephyrian tactical expertise will coordinate defensive positioning. For the first time in galactic history, 7 major civilizations found themselves working in perfect harmony, their individual strengths combining to maintain a barrier against cosmic horror. The ancient human structures guided their efforts, but the younger species provided the power and coordination. As the Devourer entity reached the system's edge and encountered their combined barrier, it paused, testing the defenses, then slowly retreated back into the void. The assembled fleets had passed their first test. "This is only the beginning," Guardian announced. "The real guardianship requires eternal vigilance, constant cooperation, and the wisdom to know when to act and when to remain hidden. Humanity offers to share this burden, but the choice must be unanimous among all present civilizations." Captain Thylex looked around at the other fleet commanders' faces on his communication screens. Former enemies considering unprecedented cooperation, ancient rivalries set aside for galactic survival. The weight of 50,000 years of human sacrifice finally understood. "We accept," he said, and one by one, the other commanders voiced their agreement. The age of humanity's lone guardianship was ending. The age of galactic cooperation in the face of cosmic threats was beginning. And somewhere in the deep void, ancient human spirits could finally rest, knowing their sacrifice had not been in vain. The galaxy would survive, protected not by one species' sacrifice, but by the united strength of all who called it home.